Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to HO-LY-SHIT. On today's episode, pro wrestling news, rumors, spoilers, discussions, and predictions. And your hosts, Dark Cordz and Draven Rhymes.
Welcome back to HO-LY-SHIT. I'm very excited today. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, the godfather of trash talk, Thump Dupree's in the building. How you doing?
What's up, brother?
Doing great.
What's up, man?
Doing great. Man, I'm really excited about this because I can't tell you how many times we've been having a conversation with my wife laughing over on the side, and I'm like, we need to record this fucking conversation.
Yeah.
Like it's never boring when we talk. So tell them a little bit about yourself, wrestling career, outside wrestling.
God. 22 years, 24 years. 24 years, yeah. 24 years in. Had a cup of coffee with some big companies. On the independent scene, I have done just about everything from promoting to booking to working to reffing to commentary to production. I've done it all. And I'm probably just grasping, to keep a spot at this point. I'm involved in a faction now called the Crazy Bastards. That's just starting to take off a little bit. We're looking forward to an upcoming AEW spot, and we'll see how that goes. Right now we're nuts deep with Atomic Legacy Wrestling, and we're just starting to pick up doing some other things with some other companies. I really don't like to even talk about other companies until we've actually done it. But right now we are pretty much dedicated to Atomic, and they've undergone some big changes just recently. But it's good stuff, man. Myself, John Strange, Christian Mills, and Karma Dean. Who would have thunk it? Actually, you saw this evolve yourself at Adrenaline. Where basically it was born.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I started a small promotion in Florida called Adrenaline Wrestling. I actually turned pretty big pretty quick. I think we had probably the fastest growing promotion in Florida last year. Looking to pick it back up this year, but Thump was my booker for Adrenaline, and he introduced Crazy Bastards on the show. And guys, if you are lucky enough to be around a show that Crazy Bastards are on, it's an experience. Essentially, the gimmick is they've all broken out of a insane asylum. Uncle Dupree is the manager, the mouthpiece, but he is a huge part of the character of the show. Also, Karma Dean is the nurse in their faction. You've probably seen her on AEW Dark a few times, but Crazy Bastards are getting an AEW Dark spot coming up real soon. Hopefully that'll air. I'm not sure when the airing schedule is, but you're about to do that show tomorrow, actually. So pretty excited about that. Tell us a little bit about how the Crazy Bastards came around.
Actually, man, the idea kind of sparked at a knockout show where I had Christian Mills and John Strange working each other in hardcore match. Well, street fight, whatever. And they killed it. Both matches, actually did 3 different matches, and they killed all 3 of them. And I was like, neither one of them was really. I mean, Strange, he's a 25-year vet. He's like me. He's been around forever. But in Florida, he's kind of like, he moved down here, and he kind of started out doing some of the smaller shows, and really nobody knew about him. and then Cahagas, he started training with Cahagas at Thunder, and things really started to take off for him here. And then he moved back to Kentucky, and he's been back here, I don't know, a couple years now. But he's John Strange is definitely the most underrated worker I've ever known. It's amazing to me that he doesn't have a job somewhere. He's crazy as shit, legit, like I am, but he has an incredible mind for the business. He absolutely knows what he's doing. He can make anybody look good. The guy, he's and Christian has a lot of natural talent. Christian's great. Coming out of school, he was kind of stuck in this kind of like this bubble, resulting from, and I'm not going to beat this topic to death, but the whole Team Dojo deal, the Team Vision Dojo bullshit. He at the time was a product of that, and so he was getting blackballed. And I mean, this is like 2 years before I met you, so it's been 3 years probably. But I saw something in Christian, even though he's on the smaller side, he's tough as shit. The kid, you can't kill him. You just can't. And you can do a lot with tough. And Christian has evolved into really putting a lot of his input into what we do. He's primarily responsible for how great our promos are. I mean, he's, we have an editor, which I can't really name him because he's an actual worker, and we have a match with him coming up soon, so I can't really say his name right now. But we have a lot of friends in the business that help us out, and it's one of those things, man. Crazy Bastards is so like risque. The term we didn't realize the term bastard was like a curse word, because we have all these dickhead promoters trying to get us to call ourselves something different, and all this other shit. And it's like, hey, if you don't want this version of us, if you don't want this, then that's cool. You will eventually, but we're not gonna. They've tried it. I refuse to be a part of anything other than what we do, and which is probably good since I come out to the ring in my underwear. But I mean, it's. I had a vision of something. I knew going in that there might be some people that are like, but I figured eventually the comedy part of it would circle itself back around, because we're not raunchy by any means.
No,
we're PG, solid PG. Anything, we don't really talk much in any of our promos. Most of our promos really have nothing to do with wrestling. They're more about our escape to even get to the show. So, we're not match specific when we do promos. We don't talk about our opponents. We really don't give a shit who they are. Like, it doesn't really matter. In most cases, the teams that we work are thrown together at this point anyway. We haven't gotten to a point where we've been in a storyline with anybody to where I would say, maybe Better Together, they're one of the better tag teams in Florida right now. Better Together, we've done several matches with them. I have not been a part of a single one of them because they were at either Proving Ground or Local Pro, which are two of the promotions that did. Well, Proving Ground's come around. Proving Ground now all of a sudden loves Crazy Bastards. Before they didn't. And Local Pro, God, I love Les. I don't get him sometimes. This is one of those times. But I love Les to death. He's been a friend of mine for many years. But he apparently doesn't like the Crazy Bastards name, and that may have, he may know something about his crowd that I don't, and that's fair, But we're kind of selective too about where we work. Me being a booker, I know the shows that are going to benefit the most from us. There are some smaller shows. There's a couple small shows that would benefit from us. It's just because of their distance, they can't really pay us enough to do it. You know what I mean? It's not a we're trying to get rich thing. It's a we're trying to have enough gas to get there thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it doesn't make sense to do, it's not worth it. And that's what I try to teach a lot of these young kids anymore is, it's great, man. You got a booking, but if it's $20 in Miami and you live in fucking Jacksonville, what's the point? What's the point? You go deliver pizza or fucking rob somebody or do something, but you can't, you know what I mean? This business has, it's funny because guys are getting paid $20 now, just like they were getting paid $20 fucking in 2001.
Right?
It's like there's been, even though gas has gone from $2 to $4, nothing's really changed, and that's That's what's funny, man. Is it's almost like I've been watching. Shut up, Jackie. Jackie, shut up. It's almost that's my dog, Jackie. Anyway, oh, she's an asshole. Shut up. Anyway, she won't. She's not listening to me.
No.
Nobody in my house listens to me. But anyway, you know, one thing I can say about the business is a couple things. You know, as much as a lot of us old school guys, we talk shit about the new style and, you know, but it's mostly out of jealousy because, you know, the reason why we didn't do all that crazy flip shit back then was because most of us couldn't do it. You know? Nobody wants to admit that part. But the reality is that there is a lack. I mean, and even the young guys agree that there's a huge void in the storytelling aspect of what's going out there, what's going on. And until we circle back around to that, we're, you know, and stop trying to be fucking UFC. You know, every guy's got to be a tough guy.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's not a shoot fight. Hey, it's fucking fake. It's fake. It is. Don't get mad at me, but it's fake, and it's been fucking fake for 100 years. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be a fucking MMA fighter, go be an MMA fighter.
Right.
But this is an entertainment business, you know, and we've somehow got, you know, and I'm going to use this term. Non-wrestling fans won't get this, but fuck popping the boys. Work that fucking crowd. Work the people that are paying you, because the fact that you don't is the reason why you're getting $20.
Right.
You know, and yeah, your Aunt Betty and your Uncle Tom and fucking, you know, Miss Whitley from your 6th grade teacher and, you know, your old lady that's collecting tickets or whoever, they're gonna root for you. They're gonna show up, you know, a couple times.
Sure.
You know, until you stop entertaining them. And a lot of these indie shows, they start out bad and get worse, and it sucks.
You know, it's funny you say that because, yeah, the athleticism has gotten a lot better. The attempt to blur the line between a work and a shoot with trying to use MMA and things like it. Like, people are projecting this tough guy persona. But the problem that I have with today's wrestlers, and we've talked about this before, is they're still this generation. So they're still, like, when we were coming up and when I was a wrestling fan, you know, growing up, and those were tough motherfuckers. Like, you legit tough guys, and they didn't have to pretend to be tough guys. And
Alex Porto beat my ass every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. So
every day.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us how you got started in the business.
Man, I saw that on TV. I always wanted to do it. I was like 27, I think, and I had a really good shoot job. I was making crazy good money with my shoot job. So even though I didn't have a lot of time to put into it, I had a lot of money to put into it.
Mm-hmm.
So so I was very selective about where I went to train, and I actually ended up training in this guy's backyard. But it was who was training me. Because Alex Porto knew so many people, like I had, like, Kid Romeo would show up once in a while, or Haku would show up once in a while, or, you know, all these guys that lived close by that also knew Junior, the guy that ran the school. And for a long time, it was just me. I would show up and train with whoever happened to be there that day. And then I had other guys, like Jethro came through every once in a while, and, you know, he was really good back then. Rico Moon, who was just starting out, I think he was like 50 then. But Rico was around, and, you know, the thing was, man, if you couldn't get past the blow-up drills, especially with Romeo, like, if you couldn't get past the blow-up drills, you couldn't train. So we'd have guys come over that were trained workers and just wanted to get in the ring. If you couldn't get through his blow-up drill, beat it, motherfucker. And that's why it ended up being just me, because I had to do the blow-up drill anyway, because I'd been doing it, you know. And another big difference between now and back then is people don't train. nearly as much as they should.
Mm-mm.
Some guys do, and it shows. It shows. A lot of these young kids, there's some really good young talent in Florida that when the light bulb goes off and they start to get it, they're going to be fine. And some of them are fine anyway.
Right.
They wouldn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, but they're doing well because people are making them look good and they're making themselves look good. And look, man, the biggest advice that I could give to any young kid, and it's only because I've seen it really hurt guys. If you don't look like a fucking wrestler, man, people are not going to spend money to come and see you.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if you're not about people paying to see you, you're in the wrong fucking business.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong business because that's what it's all about. Even at this, you take someone like Cha-Cha Charlie. I know what Cha-Cha Charlie's going rate is. I booked him several times. Cha-Cha Charlie draws.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care if I put a show in Ocala, Orlando, Kissimmee, Tampa, Miami, of course Miami, but anywhere in Florida, if I put that guy on the card, he's going to draw money. Cha-Cha Charlie is by no means the best worker in Florida, not even close. But he's a great talent. He's been around a long time and he's consistent. He's consistent. He doesn't make major changes in anything he does because once he figured out what worked, he stuck with it. And I applaud him, man. There's a lot of really good talent. Romeo Quevedo, man. Romeo's been around a long time, but like Romeo Quevedo, Eddie Torres, Vertigo, shit, Jason Dugan. I mean, there's so many guys that I even I watch them and I'm like, wow. And it's because they're doing it the right way too. They're not out there doing these spot fest bullshit matches that don't make any sense. They're telling stories, every single one of them. And even Romeo does a lot in his matches, but Romeo still tells a story.
Yeah.
And it's just usually a very long one. But Romeo's he's up there right now. He's definitely in my top 3, if not top 5 for sure. There's some really good talent in Florida. It's weird because we won't really know. Like the jury's out on a lot of people because just like back in the day, man, Roderick took Roddy. We knew Roddy was going to be great. Roderick Strong. We knew he was going to be. Everybody knew he was. I worked many indie shows that he was on, and and you're watching. You see all these guys, and you're like, man, they're really good. Like, why aren't they? And then all of a sudden, one after the other. It all started with like there was a guy, Antonio Banks, who does MVP. And that's not Antonio Banks is not even a shoot name. But anyway, he was doing Antonio Banks in Florida, and he went to like I think it was Deep South or somewhere like that with where Francisco Chiazzo and some other guys were. And next thing you know, he's on TV doing MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got like Roderick Strong and Gemini, who were these two massive twin brothers that were out of Tampa. There's just been so many, and yeah, there's been a lot of guys that I thought were going to make it that never really did at that level. But man, like Florida's pumped them. We pumped them out.
Yeah.
And yeah. I remember a few years ago, I had this kid. He was just like Christian. He was in that stigma where nobody wanted to book him because of where he was trained. And you actually work with several on the shows you do. You work with several people that are actually going through that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's the same shit. Thank God that there's a lot of promoters that don't care now, but it used to be they couldn't get booked anywhere. 2 years ago, they couldn't get booked anywhere. Well, anyway, I see this kid, man. He's like 6'3", built like a fucking brick shit house. Nicest kid you ever meet. I booked him on an MFW show, and the kid's like drop kick is like 3 feet above the top rope. I mean, he's fucking sick. Right, amazing athlete. And I called it right then and there. I called it like after I saw him the second time. I was like, that kid's gonna get signed one day. And well, he's Malik Blade in NXT now. So, and that was 2 years ago. So there's kid like Blake Banks, man. Blake Banks, Cam Stewart, really good gimmicks. Really good at working their gimmicks. Really good at like fucking making you believe that that's who they are. They both, especially Blake. Blake's hilarious. But there's this kid Devin Diaz used to be Devin Decay. He's coming up. He's really good.
Yeah.
There's just so much, and almost every single one of these people, worked for us. I mean, you've got your older vets like Gus Money,
Right.
who's amazing. Even like Tony Devlin, who's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just really good. And they're still around, but it's almost like you get to a point where traveling a lot and making money on the indies is good enough.
Yeah.
It has to be.
It has to be because there's only so many spots to fill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worked with a lot of these guys at Adrenaline.
Yep.
Blake Banks is amazing, like you said. Rich Port Ayala is really talented. Devin Decay, which was what I knew him as, but you say he's done a gimmick change. He is amazing talent. Florida is talent rich. But back to what my gripe about today's wrestlers is that, when we were coming up, you were tough guys, but you were also mentally tough. The kids today, they try to be tough when the camera's on, but then when they walk backstage, if you say something negative to them, they start crying.
Well, it's kind of like Mr. Miyagi said, no such thing as a bad student, only bad teachers.
Mm-hmm.
In pro wrestling, that is 100% true.
Absolutely.
And if you weren't put through the ringer by the guy that trained you, or made to earn it the hard way, setting up. I mean, setting up and tearing down rings was something we did daily, just to train. So there was many times that I set that ring up and tore it down by myself, and got there early to put it up and to set it up by myself, because I knew if I didn't, I wouldn't get trained. Right. And if I wasn't able to train, then Alex Porto would put his foot up my ass. Right. So trainers are just different now. And I'm not saying all of them. Because there's some great ones out there. David Mercury and Jay Lethal in their school, and of course Dax at Tampa Bay Pro. They're putting out some good talent. I mean, even Chase in there for a while. Like, I haven't seen too much of the new guys yet out of there, but like Proving Ground, my God, Frankie and Sean Davis are doing amazing over there, because they've taken guys that were and made them way better just by having them there every Friday. And you can't learn from. I mean, Sean Davis, besides being one of the best tag team wrestlers and tag team psychology guys I've ever worked with, like just a hell of a fucking worker, man, just amazing. And Frankie, I mean, Francisco Chiazzo is the true godfather of Florida. Now, I might be the godfather of trash talk. That's entirely possible. But he is absolutely the godfather of Florida when it comes to the number of guys that he's helped out and like works with and has made so much better. And I got nothing but good things to say about Frank. We have a history, believe me. But in the last year or so, we've kind of mend fences and become friendly again, and really friendly again. I have nothing but respect for the dude. And looking at his body of work, I mean, if there's a Hall of Fame for Florida just for being the guy, it's him for sure. Mm-hmm. The guy, he made a movie called The Journeyman, and it's absolutely what Frankie was in his entire career pretty much. But he deserved a lot better. Frankie deserves a lot better than what he got from this business. But he's definitely put in more, as much or more than anyone I can think of. I mean, he's amazing. Here I am sitting there putting over all these people, but I'm not sure that's what this show's about. He's a fucking dick. I would have kicked his ass. No. No. What is it? Heel talk, right? Yeah.
Heel shit, man. Bad guys do heel shit. Yeah. So let's get into some more fun stuff. But before we do, let's take care of a little business. If you like this, if you like the podcast, do us a huge favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow the podcast, and here's a word from our sponsor. Thank you for watching Heel Shit. I just want to take a second to tell you a little bit about our sponsor, Castell Vodka, Kastell Vodka. You can find it at castellvodka.com or Castell Vodka on Facebook, Castell Vodka on Instagram. by far the best vodka I have ever tasted. I drink this straight with some ice. No chaser, no mixer, no hangover. The best vodka on the market. Go to your local liquor store, tell them you need Castell vodka. Your favorite bar, tell them you need Castell vodka. It will be a hit in their shelves, in their bar. CastellVodka.com. Thank you. Okay. So I'm just going to insert a commercial there. So let's get into when you started wrestling. Obviously, Alex was the driving force behind your training, but tell us how when you started getting into the ring.
All right, here we're gonna go through the funny shit.
All
right. When I first started, I was like 180 pounds, and I was doing all the flip shit.
Oh Jesus!
Because I was in the era of I was TV in 98, 99, 2000. It was all like Billy Kidman, fucking Rey Mysterio. Like I learned how to do a swinging crucifix, which I've actually taught some guys that should actually do it, because I probably ate shit at least half the time. I used to come out. I'm gonna tell you a really funny story, man. Jethro was there that night. I was supposed to. It was like my third or fourth match ever, anywhere, and I was at this Calico Jacks in Kissimmee where the fucking ring like barely fit on the dance floor, and it's like the tiniest Calico Jacks anywhere, right? So, and there's about 7 people there. So I come out and I go to flip into the ring and my fucking feet hit the ceiling, and I ate shit jumping into the ring. I looked across the ring and Jethro, who's supposed to be this prisoner, is fucking turning blue, trying not to laugh, right? So I'm so flustered, I forgot the whole fucking opening spot. I come flying in with a boot, and he's like sitting in the buckle, thinking I don't even know. I was supposed to do like a fucking. I think I was supposed to come in with like a splash or something, but I didn't. I came running at him, and I stuck my boot right in his fucking face. Bam! So he works me back up, shoots me off, reverse. He's in the corner again. I come running in, and he fucking kicked me so hard in my fucking face, bro. I thought my head was gonna come off. That shit was funny, man. I love Randy. I was actually in his wedding, man. He's a very good friend of mine. I love him dearly. But that was a learning. He did me a favor that night. He taught me, hey, man, if you fuck up, you got to keep your head.
Yep.
So you almost kicked my fucking teeth out, and I paid for it. And there was many times where I'd be training with Alex or even with Kid Romeo, man. Kid Romeo was like a bad little motherfucker. He was a little guy, but he was a bad motherfucker. And Sammy, he's funny. He's has his own pest control company in Orlando called Commander Pest Control. He does these funny ass commercials on Facebook. I've always liked Sammy. He was hard on me, but I've always liked him. He's a typical New York guy. You guys know who Kid Romeo is, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, he had just got, WCW just that whole deal went away like right when he was about to take off.
Mm-hmm.
And so he needed a place to train. And he trained with me a lot, and he taught me so much about the evolve, how things were like to be a cruiserweight and all that. And then I went through this phase, man, where I was getting booked. Haggis and Chris Nelson and some other guys were getting me booked every Friday and Saturday somewhere, like everywhere. And I was like, first match, second match, first match, second match, babyface, right? Doing all this flip shit. And I remember I was on a show, I think it was somewhere down south, like Miami or whatever, and I was riding back to Chris Nelson, and he said to me, he goes, "You are a natural heel. You're a funny guy. Like, if you want to be a main eventer, stop doing all that flip shit, put on a little bit of size, and do something a little bit different with your look." And as it turns out, we were going to do some show in I think it was Auburndale, somewhere in Polk County where he was from. And this is where I'll make reference to a guy named Al Hardiman. who used to run these shows at the flea market, and they were crazy shows because they weren't very great talent wise, except on the top end, but the fans were like the only fans that actually made you think they still believed it. It was that kind of vibe, which was very fun to work in front of, and it was usually 300-400 people. It was decent, I think we were riding back there, and my old lady at the time, my son's mom, braided my hair in box braids, and I threw a bandana on, and I remember cutting a promo that night. I was working as a heel, just thrown in to work as a heel. Nobody knew me. There was no story, nothing. And I went out and I cut this seething promo where I told some guy to tell his old lady if she was looking for dentures. They were soaking in a coffee cup full of Effernan on my nightstand, and fucking just all this crazy fucking shit I was saying to these people. And I could hear Chris Nelson. It was one of those. It was a flea market, but this building we were in was like the bottom part was where the ring was, and the top part was the locker room. And you could literally walk all the way around. So it was very cool. It was a very cool fucking vibe, and it was old. Like the building we were in was like this old farmhouse kind of deal, but it was like attached to the flea market, and it was just really cool, man. And I could hear Chris Nelson up in the fucking top, specifically losing it. And I had a match with this kid, and I pretty much beat the fuck out of him because I didn't know how to be a heel. And he's like, at match is over, he's bitching at me because I was stiff. He was right, I probably was. And I say he was a kid. I was 30 years old at the time, or 27 or 28, I don't remember. I was somewhere in that area, and this kid's like 18. So yeah, he's a kid, but he's probably been wrestling like a lot longer than me at the time, And but I beat the fuck out of him, and he got mad. And I remember Chris Nelson just saying, "Hey, do everything you just did, except beat the fuck out of the kid. You need to learn to work on your punches and some of your heel shit." Because I never stopped anybody when I was a babyface. I never,
Sure.
So it was just that little learning curve, but it didn't take long, man, because I literally went from doing like match 1 to match 2 to being way up the card doing mains and working with some of the better talent in Florida, Dagan Briggs and Cahagas and my God, Hack Myers, shit. There was a lot, man. There was Bruce Santee, Frankie, the Heartbreak Express, which was the Davis brothers, Sean Davis and his brother. I was very, very fortunate, man. And the learning curve, it's kind of like when you're in there with somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing, the learning curve becomes a lot. It's a lot simpler. Plus, I really took less is more seriously. I really took that shit seriously. Because, sure, I could fucking do a springboard, whatever, but why? Right. Let that kid get it in. He's a babyface. Let's get him over.
Right.
Especially when you start getting belts and you start, you're actually winning a lot of your matches. You want to do everything you can to get the other kid over it and make him look like $1 million. That's the point. And that point right there, in and of itself, is a lot of the reason why things have changed on the indies, is because it's become less and less about the show and more about the individual.
Right.
And that's unfortunate, But it'll either fix itself or it'll ruin wrestling.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They don't have any, they're watching these ping pong matches on AEW. They're watching these stale ass same old shit, WWE shit. You're not seeing much innovation anymore, except the innovation is in the absurdity and the number of times you can get super kicked or power bombed or fucking code red. I mean, of these, it's just hard to watch.
I miss the days when a finisher actually finished the match. I mean, the biggest name in wrestling right now, I think, arguably, is Cody. But he hasn't finished anybody with that crossroads forever.
No.
Forever. He never finishes anybody. And it takes him... He's gotten to this indie mode where he likes to do it 2 or 3 times in a row just to get over. And what the hell kind of finisher is that? You know, it's gotten ridiculous. I mean,
Well, here's the only thing I could say about that. When he was at Ring of Honor, he was doing it and kicking guys in the face once and beating them. That was happening. I remember that. I remember seeing it several times. But when you got to remember when he went to AEW too, bro. He started working a lot bigger guys. You know, he was working like Murder Hawk and Samoa Joe and these big fucking guys, which in reality, kicking him to the face one time shouldn't get the job done. You know,
right.
But he's gotten. You're right. He's become a. He is perfect for WWE now. Yeah. Because he's a little bit different in that he will do shit 3 and 4 times. You know.
Hey, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Love when people come to the door while I'm doing a fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway,
world is an imperfect place. Anyway, back to Cody.
Yeah.
And I don't like to talk about WWE shit too much. You know how I am. I'm old school, but I'm not a mark. But anyway, Cody, like, I think this storyline that's going on right now with him and Roman, especially the way that they put Dusty in it the way they did, and we got two really good, cool top of the show things going on right now with MJF, obviously, who is probably going to ultimately be the best heel that ever lived. It'll be tough. You know, people, old school guys will be like, fuck you, it's Ric Flair, fuck you, it's, whoever. But MJF is the total package, man.
And he's 26 years old, for fuck's sake. He's forever.
He's got 30 years left to do it, and his body of work he's already been world champion, and he's beating everybody. He's he's beating everybody there, and he's doing it. It looks right. It doesn't look ridiculous like some heels. Now granted, he hasn't had a match with any of the big guys yet, because MJF is still 215 pounds, maybe soaking wet.
Yeah.
But his matches always make sense to me. Like, and it's not always the other guy, because I don't think Ricky Starks is all that great, but that match he had with Ricky Starks was amazing. He made Ricky Starks look way better than he is. And it's he's really come a long way. Jericho's really helped him a lot. You could tell.
My problem with his character, and I've talked to you about this before, is that I don't buy this badass terrifier gimmick. Like, when you say reign of terror, it should be reserved for somebody who's terrifying. Like, to me, MJF is a Weasley heel, like Ric Flair. He's not. Nobody's gonna walk down an alley and think MJF is intimidating. At least I won't.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. He's not a terrifying figure.
But part of what makes people hate him is the fact that he thinks he is. And that's a big part of the reason people hate him. And the thing is, when he has just that little bit of argument in his character, hey, he tapped out Daniel Bryan and beat him in a 60-man Iron Man match. Tapped him out and beat him. So, and the way he came into that press conference limping on the fucking crutch and freaking the fuck out and yelling and screaming and still had a little bit of color showing. I mean, let's face it, man. It's not that hard to wipe blood off. Yeah. That was done. That was done for a reason. Mm-hmm. And he's a very you can tell that he puts a lot of thought into just about every single thing he does. He's a little more, I think, call it in the ring in his matches than some. He likes to free flow in the ring, which is great.
Yeah.
But the thing about MJF is you could put him in a match with Sting from 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And the way he works, his matches, it'll be good shit.
Yeah, he can wrestle. He can wrestle with anybody, and that's the thing.
Anybody.
Is he's a very like you were saying earlier, he's a very keep it simple guy.
Yeah, and again, he's 26.
Yeah, like you were a very keep it simple guy. I mean, he can mat wrestle. The thing that I loved about that match with Daniel Bryan is the beautiful chain wrestling.
Yeah.
Like Max can really do any kind of style, and it looks believable. I don't know what they're going to do with Daniel Bryan now.
He needs a break.
He definitely needs a break.
He needs a break.
I think he's in the top 2 or 3 wrestlers on the planet. Talking about Danielson.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, so he definitely deserves a break. But I think
make no mistake, he probably really had a lot to do with why that match was so good.
Oh yeah.
You know, as far as like talking to him, you know, keeping him, you know, he probably led Max all the way through that. I would be surprised to hear differently. You know?
Yeah.
Because they did do so much chain wrestling, and they really did focus on that shoulder, which you got to remember, they've been beating on that shoulder for weeks. So the story, MJF has the ability, and I'm not sure it's just him. It's probably, you know, there's probably a lot of contributing factors in what he's doing, but MJF stories are always a 5-year-old kid gets it. You know, a 5-year-old kid watched Daniel Bryan get jumped and get his ass beat by 4 guys, and they fucking fucked his shoulder up. Okay? Well, then his shoulder gets fucked up again. The next match he does, and again the next match he does, and then the next match he does. Well, he's out there with tape all over it to face MJF, and the only thing that he could do to slow MJF down was try to take out his leg, because he was trying to slow him down. Especially after he got those. I mean, the storytelling was amazing, man. I hope we get something similar out of WrestleMania. I don't know how. I like Roman. Roman's a great heel. There's no disputing that. I mean, this point, you know, I like it.
Yeah. But this story,
I just don't know if Cody should win right now. I don't know if they should just keep making Roman God until somebody God-worthy comes and takes him down. It's definitely not going to be Kevin Owens.
No.
They've tried that. Kevin Owens isn't going to make money with that belt on.
I think it's a foregone conclusion that Cody wins at WrestleMania. I think that this has been the best story in wrestling in years.
Right. But the fact that it's a foregone conclusion is the reason why I don't think they should do it.
Right. No, and I think it would be a crazy swerve. I just think that Cody is a babyface that'll be very similar to John Cena as a babyface in the WWE, because he looks like the head babyface. He's got the look. And very different from John Cena as far as the look. I mean,
too small.
He comes out.
He's too small. I don't believe Cody.
You don't?
I don't believe Cody. I don't believe Cody and Roman in a real fight. Roman would destroy him. Roman's 6'6".
No, yeah.
270.
No, of course.
And Cody's 230 maybe. And you know, it's not a believable topple.
I just think that.
But I'm weird, man. I'm really weird about shit like that. Like Bryan Danielson, as great as he is, should never be able to take down Samoa Joe, ever.
Right.
You know, but he does. You know, and I get it. You have to at some point. I mean, somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. I just don't know. I don't know if Vince believes in Cody like that yet. I don't know. I mean, they gave him a lot of money to come there. Probably a great deal of that was fuck you money.
Yeah.
Tony Khan. So, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't really think about mainstream wrestling as much as I used to anymore.
Well,
I don't really think about, to be honest with you, lately I haven't really thought about indie wrestling too much either. I've been really nuts deep with a shoot job, and you know, like it's been a weird transition from 2022 to 2023. There was a long period of time where it was kind of dead, and then now everything's starting to pick back up, and it's you know, like Crazy Bastards, we want to get on CCW soon. We want to do Thunder. We want to do, you know, we're going to start doing Proving Ground a little bit, even though it's basically a student show. It gives us, you know, a chance to get back a little bit, and B, well, Strange obviously too, but B, to get us some reps Our Strange and Christian's tag team wrestling right now is really getting good, and they're the stuff they're calling and the stuff they're calling in the back is really translating really well, and it's only getting better. And so us getting those reps when we go and work better together, or Men at Work, or some of the other good tag teams in Florida on a weekly basis is only going to help us. So, to get footage, we need footage for to get booked other places. But who knows, man? Like, I can't really talk about the AEW stuff too much. I just can't. But as far as the indie stuff goes, like ALW, once we start getting some eyes on us from Fight TV, we've had some really good matches there, even with like Jerry Swirls and Ridiculoso. We've had some good matches there, and once people get eyes on us, a lot of it's the gimmick. People love our gimmick. I love grossing out people with the underwear thing and the ring pole. And
tell folks how you come to the ring.
I wear a robe with a Crazy Bastard shirt tucked into a pair of tidy whities with Scooby-Doo socks and Crocs, with an airplane hat on, like an old school airplane hat on,
like an old fighter plane.
Yeah. With the goggles, and I come out and scream "fly," and then I fly all over the building, and sometimes little kids follow me. It's pretty good. It's cool. And the guys, with Karma, we're all together, and we all, we're very. It's not always that we're together, all of us. It's usually the three of us, me, the guys. But we have a really good chemistry. And Strange and I know what each other's thinking to the point to where we can ad-lib some stuff, and it'll work. We've experimented with different things, and we've definitely pushed the envelope with some things, and now we're just kind of trying to see what people think. And so I'll be honest with you, I'm very happy just performing now, instead of doing the booking and all that other shit. I enjoy booking too, don't get me wrong, but I'm just at a time where I want to see how this goes. It would be amazing for something good to come of it. Even if that's something good as we're traveling as an indie faction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Biggest challenge for us is our numbers. With having 4 people and people wanting to fly us around and shit, it's expensive.
So tell us about the Uncle Thump special heel move, the temp check.
Temp check. We do that. We do that pretty much every match. Somebody gets a simulated thumb stuck in their ass, and it's called a temp check. And it's either delivered by me or Karma or both of us. But we have also been told at times not to do it, and we still do it. Especially if I'm there. If I'm there, we do whatever. We do what we do. I don't care. I mean, I'll argue with anybody. Little kids aren't going to go home and start sticking their thumb up each other's asses. Well, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not. But you guys, do you classify yourselves as a heel or a babyface team?
Babyface.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we get love everywhere. We do. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's different when Karma's with us, but it's still good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean, well, maybe that's not bad, but like having Karma with us helps, because there's, a lot you see. Let's face it. Let's shoot here for a minute, shall we? Would you take a gander out of the crowd at an indie show? You can see some pretty interesting people.
Yes, you can.
And some of them are fucking creepy. And the creepers, they'll always come up to me, especially at the Atomic shows. They'll come up to me, I'll be like, "Where's Karma? We came here to see Karma." I'm like, "Really? You paid all that money to come out and watch Karma?" Like, Eric Bischoff's on the show, by the way. Like, that's really, come on, bro. And there's some creepers. I had a guy one time come up to me at an atomic show and ask me if Karma would let him take pictures of her feet. And I'm sitting at the merch table, and I ended up selling the guy a pair of my underwear.
What?
Yeah, $10. $10. Yeah, Karma wasn't there, right? She wasn't there for the anniversary. It just happened at the anniversary show.
Right.
We had a really good, we were second out. We worked Ridiculous and Jerry Swirls. Put them over. They got tag belts. It was great. We had a blast. Great match. You know, we come out at intermission. We're doing our merch sales thing. And this fucking guy comes up. And I could tell. Like, when he walked up, I was like, oh, shit. This motherfucker has been investigated by the FBI for something. He just had that look, you know?
Right.
And he goes, hey, man, I think Karma would let me take pictures of her feet. And I said, bro, first of all, Karma's not even here. Second of all, thank God. Because if you said that shit to her, she probably flipped shit. Karma's not like that at all. At all. Like, she's
very straight, huh?
Yeah, she's not with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and let me tell you something about Karma Dean. Karma Dean is one of the classiest females I've ever known. Like, she is an amazing friend to all of us. I mean, we are definitely family. You know, I mean, if one guy's car breaks down, everybody's on it. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody has a problem, we're all on it together. You know, we all look after each other that way. And you know, just the other day, Christian's car broke down. That day, John Strange, here he comes, and me and Strange are there all day long, fucking with his car, trying to get it, you know, trying to get back on the road. And you know, and Christian, you know, like he goes out of his way for us too, you know, with getting our shit edited and coming up with these promo ideas, and you know, like we all have our thing. Karma is far away. Karma's like an hour and 45 minutes away from us.
Yeah. So
we don't see her as much. But when we do, you know, when we do see Karma, it's like she was never gone.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how it is. And Karma Dean, she's way more valuable as a person and as a human than she is a wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's she's one of those people that I'll always be close to. You know, even after I'm done with the business, which you'd think would be any time now, but for some reason, it's like being in the mob.
Hey, you can never leave. It's never over. It's never over. So tell us about, because you've been on some of the bigger stages.
Yeah, I did a little bit of Ring of Honor. I did some TV with them back in like 2006. It was like a migration from Florida. A lot of guys ended up going up there. I went to Japan once and worked at 01 promotion. That was a good experience. For the most part, man, like my travels, like my best matches all were on indie shows, either in Florida or out of state. I mean, I had an opportunity to work, like I worked Brutus Beefcake in my retirement match. Like I had an opportunity to work like Jack Evans and you know some really amazing workers and you know, I tried, like, all I have now is memories in a VHS tape box up in my closet, and I've never really been a mark for myself. I've always kind of, like, I have belts. I have a couple belts that are just sitting in my closet. You know, I don't fucking display them on my wall and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
It's kind of great. It's like being the guy that shot JR.
Right.
And having that gun on your fucking, fucking case in your living room. It's just weird. It's fucking weird.
And you were at NWA for a minute, weren't you?
Yeah, I did some NWA, especially in Florida. There was a couple NWA promotions. I only worked for the one in Tampa. I never worked for the other one. The other one was kind of shit showy a little bit. But it wasn't hard to get an NWA affiliation back then. You know? The NWA's totally changed now. It's like it's a few steps away from being mainstream, which is good, man. Look, any company that can actually, you know, pay you enough to make a living or some kind of living, it's good. You know, like good, bring them on. You know, it's good because these kids have so much more opportunity. You know, and because you can't make money on it. I mean, you can if you've been up there and come back, you can make money. But if you never get there, you know, you're never going to make a living money, and you're not nobody's going to want to, you know. The only exception to that I know was Cahagas. Cahagas was a Triple Crown NWA champion. He had all 3 belts that you could have as a singles competitor at one time.
Oh, wow.
And he's an former NWA world champion, and that's still, you know, people are like, oh, whatever. That means something, bro. I mean, it's still the most prestigious title in the business, bar none. You know, these young kids don't realize that the last 20 years, you know, of wrestling has been a way that it was not for 80 years before that.
Right.
You know, WWE was WWF, was just another territory. AWA was a territory. NWA was a territory. Then you had, you know, the Memphis people, and then the Memphis people got affiliated, and then, you know, they all. It's Florida was always NWA back in the day. You know, Georgia, and there was local TV show promoting all of it. So no matter where you were seeing a lot of the same guys work, a lot of different guys, and they were traveling. It was the mystique was there, and the you know, like now you can go to Florida, you can go to Alabama and see some kid be a babyface, right?
Right.
Go right over the border to Florida a week later and watch him be a heel. Well, if they have local TV, they just killed that character.
Right.
Back in the day, it wasn't like that. You didn't turn back and forth every fucking 6 months or some shit. It was always. Right. I was a heel, except for the first 6 months in the business. I was a heel all the way until Crazy Bastard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Well, since this is a fucking heel show, let's talk about something that's a little bit controversial. Who invented your finisher?
Me.
What is your finisher?
The chicken choker.
Which is
It's a gore special into a sit-out neck breaker.
And
that's what it is. That's what the fuck it is.
Yeah, it's a gory special neck breaker. And what would most casual fans know it as today?
Oh, fuck you, motherfucker. Willow's Peak.
Yes, the Widow's Peak. Now, Victoria has had a couple of different stories on where she picked up that move. I think the last time she mentioned it was she gave credit to Roderick Strong.
Of course she did.
But you clear it up for us.
No. No. I'm not opening that fucking can of worms. Jesus Christ. No. That's fine. She made a lot of money with that move, and I'm very happy for her, and that's great. But I was doing the fucking chicken choker before anybody.
Yeah.
Before anybody. And you know, I'm not even saying that she. Okay. Maybe she stole it from me. I don't know. But probably from Roderick. But maybe Roderick stole it from me. I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like it's funny because back when I came up with it, he could have very well been doing it, but I didn't know him or see him back then.
Right.
You know, he was still. I broke in maybe 2 years, 3 years before Roddy. And I was doing it pretty well after about the second year. So, but I can't. But honestly, I don't care. Like really, I don't. If Victoria made money with it, fuck it, you know. Victoria was obviously better than me. She made it to much higher levels than I did. So, good for her, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I would never walk up to her and go, "You fucking asshole," you know. I'm
no,
like,
of course not. That's not
you
what
know what I
we
mean?
do.
Like, no, but she's you know, like she was one of my favorites, to be honest. Females actually, because she was so believable. She was built so well, and she would work on a fucked up knee for months.
Yeah, no, she was my favorite WWE female at the time. I think she should be in the Hall of Fame immediately. I think the fact that she's not is a fucking crime. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That Hall of Fame shit is, Owen Hart's not in it, and I know that's because of his wife.
Mm.
But there's other people that aren't in it too that I just.
Umaga.
Yeah, Umaga definitely. Umaga was amazing, man. Especially when he started doing that character. That was just losing him was hard.
Yeah.
Losing him was hard. It's hard to think now, like, because Umaga would still be around. More than likely still be working. He's so young, and with the whole bloodline thing, can you imagine that, like how that would be now, like
with him? Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I really like Solo, but he's really kind of taken on a lot of Umaga characteristics, and I know it's homage, so I really dig it.
Sure.
But it does make me miss Umaga.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But as far as the chicken choker thing, my name for it was better than anybody's. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a girl at an atomic show not too long ago do it. You know what I mean? It's whatever. I don't give a shit. It's hopefully she makes money doing it.
Yeah, sure.
I gotta watch what I fucking say to you. Jesus Christ. The fuck? Fuck, man, you trying to drag me into deep water? What the? Jesus Christ, the fucking crocodile. Fuck. That's all I need is some fucking PWI guy to see this shit and be like, yeah, this motherfucker says this finisher was stolen by, No, I don't need that.
I didn't say it was stolen.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that any move cannot be used by somebody else.
Sure.
That's not my thing.
I mean, can you imagine if there was some guy out there that was 118 years old that was pissed off everybody's using a hip toss? You think about it. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers are
No, I don't. I think there are finishers. I think there are finishers that should be protected. Like it really pisses me off when I see people kick out of the Doomsday device, for example. I think that finisher.
Yeah.
I think that finisher should be protected. I think the stunner should be protected. I hate.
Bro, a pile driver.
Yeah.
A pile driver should end you.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of all, and I mean, I've had this argument on car rides before with two people. Like, I'm thinking of one right now that's really funny. I remember me and Frankie were arguing about this one time when we were tagging together about what finisher should no one ever kick out of. And mine's always been point blank. I don't care how you get into it, but when you put all your body weight down on someone's head to where it jars their neck,
yeah,
you should not only get pinned by it, but stretchered out.
Yeah.
That's one move, and that's one move too, man, that really can fuck you up. You can get seriously fucked up with a pile driver.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have your hands in the right place and he doesn't protect your head, you can seriously get fucked up, and I've seen it happen. There used to be this kid, I can't remember his fucking name. He was around maybe 15 years ago, but he used to like take a pile driver and he would push off and backflip and land on his feet and then wobble and fall down. It was, I mean, or he'd wobble and he'd wobble and fall in the corner, which, or wobble, and he was a heel, he'd wobble and fall out of the ring if he was being a heel, but get out of the ring so he couldn't get pinned, that kind of thing. My thing is, you should be, as soon as your head hits the mat, you should lose motor skills.
Yeah.
And lay there and take, and it's 1, 2, 3. The work should be fighting out of it. When he goes, like when he goes to pick you up, there's 1,000 ways to like reverse it, or turn it into a Hurricane Rana, or any anything other than taking it and feet bouncing back up and fucking throwing a clothesline or some shit. That's I've seen Moxley do that with Kenny Omega, and it's terrible. There's a bunch of moves like that, man. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, Harley Race used a fucking delay vertical suplex for a finish.
Oh yeah.
And it was believable.
Yeah.
Because Gordon Soley's going, all this guy's blood is going to his brain, and you know, it made physical sense, even though it was bullshit. It to a 10-year-old kid who doesn't know better, it makes perfect sense. You know?
Yeah,
and Harley Race would finish opponents with a fucking suplex. You know? And it was, you know, it really, like Hulk Hogan using a leg drop. It doesn't matter. You could go out there and stick your nuts on someone's nose. If the crowd believes it'll finish them, it's a finisher. You know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with what a lot of these mainstream guys are doing with finishers, you're gonna need a fucking RPG to finish somebody. You know. You have to have a gun and kill them. You can only kick out of so many fucking shoulder breaker, neck breaker, back breaker, you know.
All right.
Super kick.
So we only got a few minutes left. Let's send the fans home happy. Give us a story.
Oh shit.
By the way,
all right. I'm gonna kind of do an homage.
All right.
Because I haven't talked about this guy in a long time. Back in 99, 2000, something like that. 2001, that might have been. It's a guy by the name of Tom Palladino. He went by Outlaw Tom Bass. Pretty shitty indie worker. Looked like a miniature version of Earthquake. In fact, him and Earthquake had a school together. And Earthquake when Earthquake died, he basically gave that school to Tom, I think is how it worked. And it eventually evolved into being MFW, which was kind of a local promotion that I would work for when I didn't have anything else going on, and the paydays weren't great, but it was a good indie show, and I had a lot of friends on it back then. And Tom and I, you know, grew into having a friendship, and it ended up being where I didn't work for MFW at all in any capacity for many years. And then 2019, 2018 comes around. I moved closer to Sanford, which is where I'm living now. And I hooked back up with Tom, and I just went to a couple shows and was watching. And the next thing you know, they fired their booker, who was a guy by the name of Bill Crude. And fuck you, Bill Crude, you fucking piece of shit. Anyway, and I say that because you and I, motherfucker, were friends for 20-something years, and now I'm a fucking scumbag and a piece of shit because I came in and did a better job at not one, but 2 different promotions than you ever thought of doing, and I'm the asshole. So whatever, fuck you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck Bill Crude. Anyway, so, and stop telling people you're trained by the Von Erichs, bitch. You can't even spell Von Erich. Anyway, I took over the book for MFW, and they were drawing decent. They were drawing like 200, and but they were doing the same old shit they've been doing for like 5-6 years. It was just like outlaw mafia. God love Levi Mullins, but it was just, you know, it was over, but it was just stale.
Right.
And when I came in, there was a bunch of bad shit that happened. That was the reason why Bill Crude left, and he took some of them with him. And they went to Knockout, actually, which was the next place I went and cleaned up after his sorry ass. But anyway, I started booking like a lot of these kids from the dojos. Like, so people are like, "Oh, what are you doing?" So I'm like, "I don't know. Fuck you." I knew Jason Rance when he was 16 years old. Lick my ass. I'll fucking do what I want. So I was booking him, and we had me and Tom. Tom was so funny, man, because Tom would call me every morning at like 10:30 in the morning. And you know, back then I didn't work. I was just fucking just chilling. He'd call me up, and every day we talked about 3 different things. Big black cocks, Asian porn, or disabled prostitutes. he drove a garbage truck, like not like the one that picks it up from your house, but the one that picks it up from the dump, takes it to the other dump. Yeah. So he has all this time on his hands while he's driving. He's fucking and he would go into these in-depth fucking like theorist things about women and how much all of them could not deny that they loved big black cocks. Like he fucking like he was so fucking funny. And I couldn't tell a lot of people this shit, right? Because he would have got canceled, you know. And believe me, if there was ever a motherfucker that was eligible for cancellation, it was Tom. That motherfucker was a trip. From wanting to bang certain wrestlers' wives that were ring announcers on our show, Psycho Stan, like this motherfucker was crazy, and he was married, and his wife, like, it was nuts. Well, one Tuesday morning, I believe it was, right after having a great show the Saturday before, he calls me and we're talking, and he's like, he had hurt his shoulder, and he's like, I got to operate this door. I got to sit here and fucking pull a chain or push a button that pulls a chain on this door all day long while I'm hurt. I said, okay. I hung up the phone with him. 45 minutes later, I get a phone call from his son that he dropped dead with the phone in his hand at his job.
No fucking way.
Yeah. So we did a tribute show for him the next month, and then MFW has never come back. And it actually, portions of it kind of popped up at that ECGW show. That's kind of part of MFW. But it's all the shitheads that I got rid of.
Right.
Which I don't care if any of you motherfuckers got a problem. Oh, you know where to find me. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Right.
Guys that were my friends for years that turned on me over a fucking wrestling show, you know, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You know, half you motherfuckers, I got booked back in the day, you forget that. Or I booked you, or you know, I got you on shows that you would have never fucking got on.
Right.
And my repayment for that is because I don't suck their dicks today. They're fuck you motherfucker. Every last one of you. Every last one of you. That's why I don't come to your shows. That's why I don't call you. That's why I don't fucking text you. You know, a certain one of the motherfuckers I was friends with that even credits me with being like one of the guys that trained him and didn't put me on the list to go to his wedding. You know, and it was because we had heat supposedly. All right, fuck you. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was like that. But fuck you, motherfucker. You know, I just don't fuck them all. You know, it's like this, man. This is a business, and if, like, you know as well as I do, you see me operate, bro. If you give me your money, I'm gonna give you the best fucking talent I'm gonna do the best I can with the money you give me. And if motherfuckers don't like that, if they don't like that, because they can either get better or fucking get over it.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of motherfuckers out there like that I have history with for years and years and years and years. Well, the problem with that is that I have history with them for years and years and years, and I know they suck, or they're just not that good. See, I don't have a problem telling guys that they suck. I don't. It's your fault. If you were once good and you suck now, it's obvious that you should be training.
Right.
Or if you always sucked, it's because you never trained. And there ain't a narrow one of these motherfuckers that are known for their fucking dedication to training. You can take a look at them and tell that.
Yeah.
So I don't really give a shit. You know, a lot of them, bro, are bitter. And the MFW thing, and then when I went to Knockout, I got rid of more of them. The ones that left MFW, I got rid of their ass there too. I got rid of them. Why? Because I know they suck. They wouldn't have needed me to come and take over the book if they had guys that were fucking great, right? Stands to reason. That's the thing, man. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and failing miserably, and then continue to do it again. That's insanity. I don't, you know, there's certain promotions out there right now, and I know you know one of them that I'm talking about well, that they do a lot of things right. It looks like it, but there's something they're not doing right because nobody come and watches their shit. You know, and you can even have bad wrestling. You can have bad wrestling in certain situations. You know, like a lot of these small towns, like in Georgia and Alabama, and even like Florida, like Milton or wherever the fuck these places are. You can have bad wrestling and still at least promote it and draw some people to come watch it because they don't know any different.
That's the thing, is that today with the internet age, promoters aren't promoters anymore, man. Nobody is in the streets. Nobody is glad handing.
You know who is, and it shows. Alex fucking Red.
Yep.
People talk shit about that dude. Let me tell you something. Alex Red, nobody. I've never seen anybody that works harder at this than he does. And I can tell you this firsthand, man. When I was fucking tooling around at the last show, me, Strange, and Christian kind of got there a little bit early. We went to a couple different convenience stores and I think a restaurant or whatever and ate. But there was fucking it was ARW before they made the change, but there was ARW shit everywhere. Everywhere. Every 7-Eleven, there was a poster on the wall and a shitload of flyers laying on the counter. Everywhere. Yep. Everywhere you looked, there was no reason that, and it was right by the venue, which made sense, and then it spread out. Like all the way to Coco, you could see it. There was flyers and shit. I mean, this guy goes, he will have an event in Coco and go to a WWE fucking Raw in Orlando and pass out flyers when the show's over. Thousands of them. So I mean, that's how it's done. That's how it's done, man.
Yeah, and today promoters just think they put out a flyer on Facebook and that's all they got to do.
Yeah, not realizing that only your friends are going to see that, and if it gets shared, only their wrestling friends are going to see that. Oh, I tell you right now, you could ask a wrestler about just about any show in Florida, and they know something about it. You know what I mean? But go out, go ask, go to Proving Ground and ask a fan where are the shows at Saturday night. Most of them won't have a fucking clue.
Not at all, no. And it's sad, man, because if this is something that you want to do, kind of supposed to be, all in for it. It's
here's the thing, man. Like you and I have talked about the future of adrenaline, and this may be giving these fucking people a little too much, but not really. Why would we want to open up business until we know we can promote it to be successful?
Right.
You don't have to be a mathematician to figure out that, losing money is not okay, and there's just no reason to do it unless you can promote it right. And we had people telling us they were promoting it right.
Yeah.
And because we thought we could trust them, and they didn't promote it right. And I hope they both get fucking ass AIDS for it. But anyway, we there's always ample opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm waiting for that perfect situation, because it seems like when I don't need them, the perfect situations pop up.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for it because I don't really need it right now. But if it pops up, I'll be like, Tom, here we go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the thing is, in Orlando would be great because I have so much help. I mean, there's so much help. But I'd be willing to do it in Jacksonville too, because Jacksonville's kind of untapped.
Yeah.
There's some kind of shit show going on. I'm sorry, you're on that, aren't you? Are you on some show up there? Somebody's running.
Bold City Con is coming up, and I'm supposed to be on that. I don't know how big the convention is. I've never been there. But with me, we created the heel faction, the Forbidden Kingdom, and we were really starting to make some noise. And recently had a horrible injury situation, so we'll see how the group moves forward. But you can only do what you can do, and it's really tough. It's people don't understand is like you don't go to wrestling school and then come out and get booked. Like, it's not easy to get those first 10 bookings. It's damn near impossible. So you got to take what you can get. You got to get as many reps as you can, and sometimes it happens on shit shows, unfortunately.
The biggest thing is, though, and I tell all these young guys, especially the ones that are framed into that, because there are a lot of schools that get you booked. There's a lot of them that get, when you come out, you're getting booked because you went there. Like 3D Academy. There's a lot of people that have Devon reaches out and says, "Hey, book this guy. We'll book him," just because. Why wouldn't we?
Of course, yeah.
And because he's never. It's always been good. Cahagas is another one. Like when Tito first came out, when Tito first got out of school, I was more than willing to book him. You know what I mean? Rich Portayala. Rich Portayala's he was trained in Japan, but like he got polished. Paul polished him in Florida. You know how good he is, bro. He's one that'll play. He's going to play on Sunday for sure.
Absolutely.
And Rich, even now, Rich doesn't get booked constantly. Because he's still, people don't know who he is. He was left off that top 100 list, and that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But it's not for any other reason than people didn't know him.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people that didn't know him now.
Yeah.
Because he's starting to do a little bit more in Tampa and shit like that. But Rich, he's amazing. Rich is fucking, that he's got like MJF quality. He's that good.
Yeah.
Very good on the stick.
No,
Very good on the stick.
Very good.
I don't know, man. Like, wrestling is it's so fickle,
Yeah, it really is.
But like you're saying, man, it is hard to get booked. And when I refer to things as shit shows, it's usually the promoter, not really the people on it. It really doesn't have nothing to do with the talent. It has to do with the promoter, because the promoter's not doing right by a lot of these young kids by not promoting enough to get people to come watch it.
Right.
Because like I said, man, if you're in a little town, like a certain promoter that will remain nameless, if you're in a small town, man, and you're the only game in town, and you can't find a way to put 200 people come and watch your shit, it's just lazy. You're just being lazy. Because I guarantee you, they're not sitting at home going, "I'd go watch that show, but it sucks." No, They don't even know there's a show.
Right. Exactly. And does a disservice to everything. I mean, it costs money to put on shows. It doesn't help to lose money every fucking show.
Yeah.
And these kids aren't getting. They're getting reps, but they're not getting any kind of publicity. Nobody knows them.
The thing is, Tom, if the promoter isn't making any money, how's he going to pay guys that can come in and make those young kids better?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They're just working other kids that suck.
Yeah.
They don't have a chance to learn from anybody that knows what they're doing.
That's true.
And that's a big problem, man.
No, it is.
But yeah, anyway, you didn't let me finish my story, fucker. Tom Bass.
Oh.
Tom Bass was a really, really good friend of mine, man. And one of the funniest human beings I've ever met. And he was also the kind of guy that he made probably $16 or $17 an hour driving a truck.
Mm.
But lived in a very modest house, very modest means, drove an old pickup truck, toted this old ring back and forth to the fucking church where we did the shows, and always paid the guys. It was like you'd arrive for the 1.5. It was only $15, but most of our talent, that was a good payday for them because they were getting nothing anywhere else most of the time.
Right.
And we started drawing 400 people.
Wow.
200 to 400, yeah. And it was mostly story. Mostly story. Levi Mullins was our heavyweight champion most of the time. Always loved Levi. Levi's a great old school babyface. One of the best I've ever seen. He's evolved into it now. He's getting old. He's getting old now, but he's great. We had Venom for a time, and Venom was a really good old school babyface. My God, I think he's like 65 years old now, but he's still working.
Wow.
And he's still a good over babyface. Still.
Mm-hmm.
But we made our crowds feel, and that's what kept them coming back.
Right.
And Tom kind of learned, that booking shows isn't just putting guys together; it's putting them together for a reason and giving them a reason to fight, and giving a reason for the people in the crowd to care about who wins, and that's really what it was. Yeah. We did it with very simple means and very, very humble means, and I miss Tom a lot. He was a really good friend, and I haven't had too many losses in the business like that I was really that close to, but especially the way it happened, man. It was just like I just got off the phone with him. 45 minutes later, he's dead.
Yeah.
And it was really weird.
That's.
I mean, my mother knew him. My son knew him. My daughter knew him. He was He was an amazing guy, man, and I won't let people forget him. That's for sure. Any story I tell, it's usually going to start with Tom Bass because he was a funny motherfucker. There's some shit I couldn't even say on your podcast that I'll tell you privately later. They involve hookers and cocaine and shit. We'll talk about that.
Oh, shit. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, man, I've had a great time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I don't ever have to say much, which is how I like it. Just the knowledge and the hilarity coming at me. It's just always a great time.
This shit's supposed to be fun, man.
Absolutely, wrestling's supposed to be fun. What do you always say? We're not inventing the nuclear dildo here. It's just fucking wrestling.
Yep, just wrestling, bro.
It's just wrestling.
And hey, all you young guys out there that are all pissy, wrestling is not real. You cannot really kick the guy's ass. It's that much bigger than you. Not really.
Yeah.
So stop trying to pop the boys. Start popping the crowd, and maybe those $20 paydays will turn into $50 paydays. How about that?
Yes.
How about train? Train. Go to the fucking gym, train, look like a wrestler, act like a professional, and then those paydays will start jumping up. But if you keep fucking off and doing it the way you're doing it, fuck you. You get Slurpee money and lick my butt. How about that?
Well, I'm going to put some links to some of my favorite Crazy Bastards promos in the description. You need to check it out if you haven't. It's fucking hilarious. Unfortunately, Draven wasn't here, as you guys can hear and see. He's sick as a dog this morning. So it was just me manning the helm, but I'm glad we did this. Thank you for listening to Heel Shit Podcast. Like, subscribe, follow all social media at Heel Shit Podcast, heelshitpodcast.com. And until next time, thank you for joining us.